Good, grab them. While he's doing that, go ahead and give you guys an introduction. So I am Ben Theria with ARC Marketing. This is Aaron, the president and CEO. So we're going to be kind of tag teaming this today. So ARC Marketing, we are a locally based full service marketing agency. We're a digital technology solutions agency is what we call ourselves a lot of times. But that doesn't always make sense to everybody. So we're ARC Marketing. So kind of what we do, what sets us apart from some of the competition, we are full service and we have everybody in-house. So we've got 3 web developers, we've got 5 graphic designers, 3 Facebook and Google certified researchers for digital ads, PPC, and that kind of thing. And so it's a lot of fun. We offer a wide range of services, and we're going to talk about some of those today, and how hopefully give you guys some pointers on some things that you can do yourselves as well. So we'll be talking about some of these different things, and so yeah, that's just a little bit like kind of a quick, really broad overview of us and who we are and what we do. Anything you want to add to that?
You know, I'm gonna, yes, I'll add something, but it's a little bit touching on what John was saying earlier. Branding can be extremely simple, but overly complicated on all the delivery platforms that you can put it on in today's world. We decided to specialize in digital because it's very pinpoint accuracy. And that's why we say we're really a technology company. We test market everything in Beaumont, but we service a third of the United States of America. So we go all over. And you can do it very, very easy in today's world. What's complicated is doing it consistently. And that what he was mentioning about brand is spot on. It's keeping that message consistent. And also, if you want to, change it. But make the decision to change it. Making a decision is the biggest thing you could do for your small business company. I started my career as a business banker, and we would refer a ton of people to them because people just didn't know how. I'm not even going to say long, SBC, whatever. John is who we referred to before. There's a predecessor to John, so I highly recommend using those people. But coming back to it, just understanding the platforms and keeping your message consistent. Your message consistency varies. So if you decide to use one company to do billboards, radio, that they each use their own graphic design artists, and they each put their own flair on it. You're the only one that can keep all of that together. And that consistency allows you to become somebody else. Not in the beginning, but later, it's the power of everybody knows Brown. You know, that is what rolls in time. And if you don't like it initially, change it. Just recommend that it's consistent. So that's about it. And then we'll just run through these things.
I'm gonna play off that for just a second, and then we'll run through these things. So I think we'll be fine for 45-minute time window. I did have some coffee this morning. So typically when I have coffee, I talk way too much and say very little. So I'm trying to avoid that today. But on that note, I know we're talking to a lot of various business in the group and small business. I know some of you are at various stages. Some of you work for yourself. Some of you work for larger companies. And so we did just have a client. This was very interesting. He wanted to start a company, and it's exactly what John was talking about. He had all of these different things, and we tried to rein him in a little bit, and he just needed to get moving. And it's like, hey, I want to do this for a logo. I want to do this for a website. Let's just get going. And on our end, we had waived some of the upfront costs to get him something just up and moving, knowing that was going to recalibrate. Sure enough, about 2 months ago, he's been open for 6 to 8 months now. He came back and he goes, hey guys, I'm sorry if I wasted y'all's time. He did not at all. But this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is who I want to be. And it was like, bingo, let's work with that. We just finished a lot of our branding kind of guidelines for him and his company. And it looks great. It feels great. The message is super clear. He's excited. We're excited. And now we're moving kind of full steam ahead. And so that was a great point. Vision, you got to have vision. But at the same time, don't be afraid to recalibrate if that needs to happen. So up here, we've got some of the things that we'll be talking about today. So kind of today's marketing essentials for small business. These are some of the things that we've identified over time. Some of what we'll be talking about today, and website design and maintenance being the first thing. And so next slide, please. So website. Website is absolutely essential. If you have been to the chamber before, if I've seen you there on a Friday morning, you probably know that while we're art marketing, I spend the majority of my time talking about a website. And that's because we view that as the hub of everything else. That is the central nervous system. That's going to be the brain. So if you got the brain here, everything else is going to flow back to that at some point and come from it at some point. And so that's the way we see a website. It's essential. It's the new phone book. People wanted to know who you were a very long time ago. They were flipping through the yellow pages. Now they are Googling, and we'll get to Google a little bit more in a minute. And so you kind of got two ways to look at a website. A lot of times we'll talk with folks and they view a website strictly as a way for them to get business, to find out who they are. Something we hear a lot is, well, if I've got a big enough client base, like if I don't want to take any more business, then I don't know if I want a website because I don't know if I can grow anymore. Well, that's one part of a website. It is a marketing tool. It is an informational tool. It's also a tool for you and your company, though. And so that's the way we like to approach websites. While it is something to brand you, it is something to work for you. You are not at your business, or probably don't want to be if you are 24/7. We've got a real estate agent in the room. You probably work more hours than most of us, answer your phone. At times the rest of us are asleep. And so website gives people access to you 24/7, access to your business, to your information. Depending on how you have things set up, you've got contact forms, you've got ways for them to purchase, the list goes on and on. I don't have to go into all that stuff. We're all pretty familiar with websites.
But also in another sense, so I met you earlier, but it's an ACE handyman. So for service industries, everybody knows that you can access your website 20%, right? That's something that Google, everybody wants to be on the first page too. But for you, you could build your website, develop it as a sales tool for you. And so now you're giving people a reason to go to your website, not just because you're in search or you're the yellow pages, but more reasons you can have a customer or people want to search for you. Because it's like, you know what, I don't know all of what you do. Handyman is a very broad topic. Do you do light electrical? Do you do sheetrock, tape, float, fence? Well, if you put it there and you clearly see it to where it flows on the front page, maybe like a keypad number. Like on our website, it's literally, it says this 9 items that we do. It's not the most beautiful thing. We've got a lot of technology into our website, but it is very clear cut and simple and dry. So the more people see that, the quicker you've got that hold them for those 5 seconds that they're landing on your website page. So big websites are not as big as they used to be. Where a lot of people are scaling those things because there's other things. Employee applications, forms, building out your website. So you're giving it more than just searching for your services. You're driving future employees there that find that information. There's another way they're looking for you instead of just the traditional way. So website is a cool, great indicator for those. So I don't want you to just think forward facing. There's other ways to think about a website to drive natural traffic that wants to employ with you or job opportunities or those things. And then connecting your data. I'll go to the next slide.
Yeah,
So I guess this gets more into this, sorry.
Yeah, no, so on top of that, you do have a level of collecting your data. You can build a client base, get contact information, email addresses, all of it, which leads into email marketing and some of those things we'll get to as well. So use it as a tool and be specific on a website. I know a lot of times you can think a website, you just need to have something up there and throw it up, but there are a lot of times where a bad website probably does more negative than not having a website at all. And so be very specific and mindful of your approach when it comes to that. And so kind of breaking things down by industry, we work in several different industries, and so a lot of times we have approach specific to the industries that we're working on. And so for you guys with restaurant services, so especially through the pandemic, right? Grubhub, Waiter, these things have become absolutely massive. So you've got online ordering, delivery services. It's in high demand. It's a big thing. Something we saw really quickly once the pandemic started was we live in Beaumont. We're not Austin. We're not Houston. A lot of business is people coming through your front doors, and that kind of shifted. Now they're going online instead of walking through your door for a little while there. A part of it kind of post-pandemic, as we're starting to normalize a little bit, is that people have gotten used to that method and are still continuing to use it and utilize it more than they were before. So restaurant, you want something highly functional. You want something that's eye-catching, but you want it to create a seamless experience. How many of you have ever been frustrated ordering online? It happens. You want to avoid that. Industrial, we are in a huge industrial hub here. There are a lot of people, again, I think some of you even in this room, who may be in here. It's a hub for important information about your business, what makes you unique. So you want to have something that differentiates you from the rest. Also, when it comes to industrial and even healthcare, well, I'll move there first. So healthcare, this applies to several different fields, but in healthcare, you've got HIPAA forms and things of that nature. Typically, if we're in a website of this size with a company like this, you need a little more security on the back end. You need some things beefed up. It's worth investing in a platform that allows you to do those things and not have to worry about being hacked and those sort of deals, which is something else that we see and deal with frequently. There was a point I was going to make before I went to healthcare, but I don't remember it, so we're going to move on.
Email marketing. This is bar none the #1 platform in the United States of America. Whether you believe that or not is fine. Every conference we go to is email marketing. It is the most exciting thing. And the reason it is because, let's see, do you read conference? What? Do you get information for your prospective clients?
Not very young.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I picked you, it's like, that's a bad choice. That's a really bad choice. I'll pick on you there. Scratch. I got another reason to make it really good for her, but we're gonna scratch that.
I mean, we've had our business for 26 years, but we're in the dinosaur days.
It's very important that you need to use it. I'll show you how to use it later. Mike, I'm gonna pick on Cassie for a minute. So you're by default. So your clients, you guys have a magazine, you put it out. Those clients give them this information, great, hopefully for billing purposes. But if you have a platform, you get their information for free, and you get to tell them exactly what kind of information they need to hear from you. You get to deliver the message. You get to see if they open it, see the bounce rates. You can see where they go over it. If you have heat mapping on your email, there's so much technology that's into it. And it's all free. It doesn't cost any advertising dollars. Yes, the platform costs something, but you have to take some time to generate it. But it is the #1 most return for investment. And we are the big drivers of everything we're telling you here. Yes, we're a marketing company, and I call us a marketing company because if you do marketing right, you spend less on advertising. Because a lot of advertising is very shotgun approach, the traditional style. With this stuff, you can be pinpoint accuracy. So the difference between doing an email marketing is putting out one email. Well, what if that went out in 3 different versions to 3 different people and there was A/B testing all over the place? So it's not just a singular. When you work with firms like AmeriCommerce or us, we're going to do many more things than just, oh, I got to get an email out real quick. There's a planned platform behind it. This can be your biggest return on investment in the all. If you work it and you pay attention to it, the numbers are there. There's 3.9 billion daily email users. There's expected to be 4.3 billion by 2023. And these are numbers that we pulled from last year's. I try not to work on the most relevant because sometimes they're not that relevant. There's somebody else that's always got something. 73% of millennials prefer communications via email or that. I mean, my kid got broken up with via text. That's gonna be the next one. So, this is the way to do it. But they give you their information. And then it's your job. You have lost it if you're not sending them something. It's not every day, it's finding what works for your industry. That makes a huge, huge difference.
Depending on the size of your company, there are also multiple different approaches to this. So again, as we talked with websites, and I think it's what I was going to say on website. So we also have, and something that's continued to get more popular is intranet websites. So a website that is for your company and your users to access maybe their healthcare benefits and those sort of things. It's a tool, and same thing with email marketing. So email marketing is something that you can send to your client. You may have kind of a big spread once a month. We have multiple clients where we send to get them reviews, which we'll also talk about in a minute. Google, Facebook, those sort of things. When they have clients who close deals or use their services, we create multiple templates so they can have things automated. When that happens and they get a new email address, it's sending out something to try to garner a review from that client. But you also have it to send to your employees. We have hurricane season coming up. We're supposed to get a lot of rain this weekend. Are you shut down? Are you are you evacuating? Those sort of things. It's information that you can use to send your employees as well. So again, the way we talk about a lot of these things, while they can be advertising, we call them marketing for a specific reason. They are tools for you to use that should bring in business, but they're also useful in so many ways outside of that. And if done right, like he was saying, spend less on advertising dollars because these things are working for you. And when you put advertising on top of that, it just goes that much further.
And now I'm going to go back to the ACE guy, because there's also segmenting within the emails. So email marketing is hugely, so you probably do residential and commercial, correct? So you might have, and managing your email list is extremely vital, because if we manage a list, or if you manage a list, whatever it is, I'm sorry, I just use that term a lot, because we do that. And so you should segment it to residential customers, commercial customers, and some of the email platforms allow you to say, they don't see the commercial, but there's a call to action, like, would you like to see what we do for commercial? Click here, and then you populate the information. So you can have people add. If you just blanket it, then you'll never really know how segregated you get. Same for you. You do residential, maybe residential versus commercial. You have an IT company. So there is a lot of segmenting that we work with, and depending on the platform that you work with, it should have that capability. Drip email campaign. So I'll go back to the real estate.
Yeah.
And so you are.
Stephanie.
All right, so you may get a person that contacts you once, but if you got her contact information, we'll put her in your email management system, because I know there's a lot of systems built specifically for you guys. And then you start a drip campaign. You have 7 emails continued on. You may never hear from her again, but she may call you in 3-4 weeks, because she's got, hey, thanks for reaching out to me. It looks like you were more appropriate. You followed up, but you just spent the time to build out your email platform. And it's really, really important that you do that. And because we all need another phone call, right? We all need another phone call to answer, or whatever it is. Unless you're this guy in the back. Doesn't even need business cards, because Ben, just leave them, Ben picks them up. Big Dave, right? Dave?
It's his birthday.
I'm not giving Dave nothing wrong with some.
It's his birthday.
He turned 80.
I couldn't see you because of the glare.
Is that what it is? Is it a glare from your hair or over there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's I'm sorry. I'm agreeing with
You get an extra one. Make sure to use insulin after that. Wow.
Thank you. Thank y'all for that. Marketing is fun, I promise you.
So, yeah, happy birthday, David. He's on advancing business development, which was kind of the thing behind this as well. And as we were trying to find a date, we found out this was his birthday, and we said, we got it, we're gonna mess this whole thing up. So we planned it for this day. And yeah, so there we go. So glad you could join us. Social media strategies for business. Who has a social media account?
Do you know what to do with it?
So when it comes to business, it is different than your personal, obviously. And so couple of tips on how to maybe help manage your social media account.
Can I get one tip first?
Absolutely.
You don't want somebody else doing 100% of your social media posting. It's not for that. That's because it's an in the moment thing. There's two variations of social media posting. What you do every day or however many times a month that you decide to do. And then there's the whole advertising platform, which you need to understand the advertising platform on social media doesn't have the reach that like search words do. It's basically a billboard. You just have to understand it. It is amazing for some people, but there's two levels of it. But you need to be social media is in the moment type of person, and that works really well that way. Okay, back to you.
Yep. So there's a few different ways to do things. So I'll hit these points real quick and go into a few things on best practices. So show off your talents. What makes you different? Why is your business unique? John made an excellent point when he was talking about, if a restaurant comes up at Beaumont, you're stealing clients from other restaurants. Clothing was another example. Why are they going to buy your clothes versus someone else? And so social media is something for you to be able to promote yourself, but also to be able to show who you are, why you're different, to build trust and engagement with your audience. And it's a place for you to be able to share this knowledge for free. It is a powerful tool. So with that being said, we do marketing. We have a social media account. We put fantastic information on there. A lot of stuff we're talking about in our blog. We tell you how to do this stuff yourself. Some of it is incredibly in-depth. It depends on what level of things you're comfortable and familiar with. And we do not reach millions of people. Marketing is not sexy in and of itself. IT, it's not sexy in and of itself. Insurance, when you get to the end of your day and you may be on your phone and scrolling through for a minute, you are liking the picture of your niece and someone's cat and their dog, and then you see the insurance post of the company you follow, and you are going to continue to keep scrolling because you're not that invested. So what you want to use social media for is to be able to have relevant, current content. If someone goes looking for you, it is a marketing tool until someone goes specifically and they're looking for someone to do insurance. The guy they used, they don't feel like has treated them fairly. They need to find someone new. You are typing it into Google and you're going to go look at the first couple of names that come up. Typically, the way you route is either website first or Facebook first. And typically, you always follow one to the other, and you're going to go read a couple of reviews. If you show up to an insurance person's Facebook page, and their last post was in 2016, and it was just a couple things of text, and the next person who does insurance, you go to their page, and they have got relevant content. They are talking about everything you are looking for. As you're scrolling through, they're talking about home, auto, here's life insurance. But that's not what you're looking for. We got storms coming. You're looking for windstorm. There's a post on windstorm 2 weeks ago. You're like, this guy gets it. That's when it becomes advertising. So a lot of times, what you put on there is important. And so be strategic. What you are looking for is engagement. What you're looking for is quality. And that matters over quantity every single time. So if you are posting every day on your Facebook, stop. Please stop. That is what so many people do because 8 years ago, that's what you were supposed to do. We all know technology changes and these platforms are as well. So if you posted at 8:55 a.m. 8 years ago, someone would be scrolling through, and when they got to 8 o'clock in that day, in that feed, your post was going to come up. So you wanted 3 posts a day. Now, if you post 3 posts a day and people are not liking, they are not commenting, Facebook is saying, this person is not engaging, and we need them to stay on their phone as much as possible. The more ads they scroll by and click, the more money we make. So we do not want to give you a reason to put your phone down and close that app. So if they are not engaging, they are going to hide you and move to the next thing that they know you want to see. So then you're putting a ton of time and effort And it's really, really difficult to have engaging content when you're posting 3 times a day. They are scrolling through and not paying any attention and moving to the next thing. So be strategic, be intentional, shoot for engagement, and know that if people aren't seeing it, if you've got 100 followers, because you're a new business, if you have 100 people following you, you know that the max people that are going to see your post is 100 people. That's okay. When they need IT, you want them to go to your Facebook and see that Joey knows what he's talking about, and that's when it becomes advertising for you. So show off your talents. Why do I want to use you for IT versus the other guys in the area? Behind the scenes content. So show them a little bit about you, who's running the show. You've got so much experience in this field that some other people don't. You, at least right now, right, are the tech that's showing up to people's houses, not some kid who's only done it for a year and a half and doesn't know exactly what you do. Those are things that are great to show your audience.
And don't be afraid of that, embrace that. That's the big time
Absolutely.
difference between you and a guy that's got 20.
Mhm.
And the text I showed, your process is very consistent right now. When you've got more, they don't know who's going on, those frustrations. So be proud that you're starting your own business and run with that, because it is okay with that. Most people are always trying to be all-inclusive, suck everything in. You can't. Once you found out what your foundation is, secure your foundation, then you can build a house upon that. And so those are the things. Ben, I'm going to take us to the next slide.
Absolutely.
Again, we go back into segmenting, just what's difference there. So I'm going to go into the SEO side. SEO is a very popular term, keeps changing. SEO, but I'm going to use this one because it's an older term that everybody does. Essentially, everybody wants to be on the first page of Google, right? When we build a website, I'm sure no difference when AmeriCommerce was, I want to be on page 1, #1 spot. These are the ways to effectively manage it without paying to be there. It's a different type of paying, so you're generating, these are the areas that we break it into. This one is gaining more relevance in the last 12, 18 months to 2 years. Review management, directory listings management, and content. This one is the more gathering. This one's always there, and this is Google's #1 job is to find you as fast as possible. They search millions of hundreds of things in nanoseconds. So directory listings is making sure, it's as simple as making sure your information is exactly the same in all the directories of the World Wide Web, which is complicated. But if you do that, Google checks that box 1,000, 10,000 times to find you faster than the company that wasn't matched. It's a real fundamental, simple, basic, very complicated to do. So you want to make sure this really affects people with multiple locations and people that have changed their location and keep changing their locations. People wonder why they continue to scroll down into why am I on page 2, 3, 4, 10. This can be something that's there. Content is all over the board, from your keywords to saying that I want to focus on fundraising for your nonprofit. What does that mean? Which sector do you want to focus on? We can try to raise that section of your web page up so we can write more content that focuses on people that want to fundraise, veterans, disabilities, people that is specific to that. So when someone types in the search bar, you have relevant content on your page. It could be adding a blog to your website and writing a monthly blog that helps with that. Content is very driven. At the same time, we're sizing all these websites down so they move better and flow simpler for people. So it's a little bit trickier. We put it in different places and move it around. So those are things.
I want to hit on these two real quick. Incredibly practical things that you can do for your business today. If you don't have a Google My Business, create one. That is a huge thing. It's a huge check mark for Google. But it's also very, very important that all that information is accurate, it's current, it's correct.
The reason why, I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
because it's an aggregate. A lot of them will fundamentally grab that information on Google My Business and go there. So if you're going to update, focus your attention on one thing, focus on your Google My Business page. Your
You may
hours,
not
all those things.
know or be able to manage, a couple of hundred different directories, but you can Google My Business. You can your Facebook. If you have those two things, make sure your information is correct between those two things as well. You want it all to match and to line up. that will help. But then that also leads into this review management. And I hope as we're talking, you're starting to connect some of the dots, right? So website, we want a website that captures your email so we can add you to our email list, but we also want it to take you to the Facebook page, which is going to look like your website, which is going to look like your email marketing, which is where we can send out ways for you to garner reviews, which is going to help you continue to improve your quality score on Google, which is going to continue to raise you in the ranks when people search you. Like, use these things together. If you're trying to get reviews, because like he said, it's a much bigger thing right now than it was before. I had a client last week, and he called me up, and we're doing a lot of these services for them. And he said, hey, I've got these two guys that almost always come up before me in Google, which there's a bunch of reasons in there that we won't go into right now. But specifically, it was their Google My Businesses that are coming up. One of the many differences is that he has about 30 reviews. They don't really go after trying to garner reviews. The other guy had about 300, and he has responded to every single one. Huge thumbs up from Google on that. It's going to help. So something to take away from these things, use these platforms together, make them work for each other, make them work for you. But some of these things right here are a great thing you can do to get some visibility for your business. If you get reviews, good, bad, negative, respond to them. If they're negative, maybe walk away for a few minutes before you respond to them. Respond to them.
You gotta do that.
Because we
Do
do
not
not
argue with your customers on Google review, please.
How many of you go out to eat at a new place and look at the reviews first? So there's a lot of us that do. How many of you have read some bogus review that made absolutely no sense and you went and ate at the restaurant anyways? But how many of you read that same review and saw the owner come back and say, well, you didn't have to spend your money here, you wouldn't? And so, yeah, that speaks so much louder than some person who just had a bad night.
Okay, I'm pausing because we'll need to get the question answered. These last ones are coming into the advertising world, and I just wanted to add them. Sorry. I just wanted to add them so you guys can understand the platforms that are available. You may understand them, but I'm going to briefly talk about a couple of them. So pay-per-click advertising, this is when you type into Google or Bing. There's the two primary networks. Google eats up over 90% of the volume, so we really focus on that word. Pay-per-click advertising is when you type into the search bar, I need an IT company locally near me. There's an auction that goes out and people are bidding on that. And so that is one way. With digital advertising, I would recommend that you use someone that specializes in it. And the reason being is because in traditional advertising, you can have a client that has $50,000 a month and just eat up the billboards, the TV commercials, and do all those things. You cannot eat up anything in Google AdWords except that Google will eat your money. I guarantee you, it's a matter of organization at a level you can't even imagine. And that's my quickest way to say it. You can end up bidding against your own self, driving your own AdWords up, and all these things. So I recommend this is the most powerful platform that is available to you for especially service industry driven people. Not necessarily in the retail and like the real estate world first. So, but it is the most powerful tool. And if you don't believe me in that, everybody's selling it. The newspaper's selling it. The radio's selling it. TV is the next second most powerful behind those two. The problem with TV that I see is you can't do pinpoint accuracy. So there's a big time difference on it. So we love, love, love this platform. Now this is going into advertising by platform. And so we'll just talk about some of the platforms that are out there that everybody knows, and we'll just go briefly. Then we'll sum it up. You've got 2 minutes.
There's a lot of information here. And we're not going to go into all that right now.
Yeah.
But you have all seen these. So that is an ad, not for Shark Week, but for Vineyard Vines, who has shirts and stuff that they do with Discovery for Shark Week. And so this is essentially a billboard. You all know them. You all probably get annoyed by it, and you may have clicked on one of them to buy something from them as well. And so it's
Awesome.
important. Yes, it's important to create appeal capture attention.
Yep.
Make them want to buy our product.
Next one, Facebook ads.
Facebook ads. So
Great platform, inexpensive.
absolutely. One big thing to talk about here, we talked about Facebook content. So that is content that is not advertising. People who are seeing that are your followers and anyone they may have shared that with.
You cannot do advertising if you're not posting consistent because it's just a piece of.
Absolutely. We have, yes, that. So I'm not going to go into that more. So these are Facebook ads. This is when you are putting money behind it. You're creating an audience. This is now pushing to people. This is where you are talking about buying a refrigerator with your significant other, and then you get on your phone and there are refrigerator ads. That is where we're coming in here.
And for example of the ad, this is a powerful image that's run around Christmas time for Walmart, and they're choosing to spend on time spent. Don't go to the grocery store, go to Walmart to go, and you spend more time with your kid making drinks. So there's a relevance to the pictures that are there. They don't need to have a whole lot of presence to show their name. They want to show you that powerful image of spending time with your loved ones, right?
As he was talking about branding and vision, it takes time to build up to that point that Walmart has. But also you want something eye-catching, you want something that connects with the audience, you want to build their trust, you want to create an emotional connection, and then click on it and go use that product. And Facebook is a great way and place to be able to do that.
Pinterest is another great platform if it's specific to you. So,
a big point in showing some of these different ones is that a lot of times, depending on your industry, one may benefit you more than the other, or there may be a big option for you to use one. So Pinterest, some of you in this room, Pinterest may not be where your audience is, but LinkedIn may be where your audience is, and that's where you want to spend advertising dollars because you're a big B2B. A lot of industrial tends to be big in that area.
So I will real quickly come back to the influencer thing here that he talked about. Influencer is simply a power of math. That's all it is. It's a person that got really popular and has 1 billion followers. Well, she only needs 1% of those people to go buy your product. So it's just a math equation is what's occurring there. So this is the same. If you have all your friends following you on Pinterest, so I'm looking at adding something to my backyard. I'm an early follower of Pinterest. So I follow a lot of Jeep things on there, but also we're looking to add on, my wife and I look at backyards. Contractors can do this. It's very inexpensive like Facebook. The ads are really not, they're inexpensive, and the data that you get to see who actually uses it is great. But you have to build out your Pinterest page and do those things to get it set up. And so I think a lot of those are personal tastes. So we work with clients to help build those. Not hard to do, not hard to advertise, but some things you're just understand your advertising dollars you may spend, and what you've really gotten is education out of that. Don't think it's ever a bad thing. Just don't spend all of your budget. Let's just test this. Okay, that's a big thing with it. TikTok. Love this. Ben, go ahead and tell your story real quick, and then I'll give you this.
So TikTok, it's exploding.
I think y'all know that.
So I was dealing with the client. We've got age ranges here to show you kind of TikTok's big market. A lot of people think TikTok is only Gen Z. Well, TikTok is 41% Gen Z, but the other 59% make up millennials and baby boomers in those generations. And so again, your business specifically wants to fit into this model. I was speaking with the client as TikTok was kind of initially starting to roll out. This is 50s. He was very much above even the 50s. We don't even have an age range.
Even above you, Dave. Even above you, Dave.
Oh, wow, this is gonna be.
You were a young man, sir. Young man.
Yeah.
And their product specifically is not one that I really think benefits from TikTok advertising, but he said, hey, young man, are there any other social platforms we should be looking at advertising on? And we spoke of a couple, and he goes, well, what about TikTok? And I said, that's not your market, that's not your audience. And I was like, besides, it is a large group of Gen Z, especially at the moment. He goes, oh, really? And I was like, yes, very confident about that. As he pulled out his phone, and he clicked on TikTok, and he goes, well, I'm on it.
I love it.
So you've got that audience on there. Again, it needs to be specific to something to remember. This is all video. Video is so effective when it comes to advertising, but you also have to be good at it. You also have to be specific about it. We've got AmeriCom in here, video production, bad video all day long, does nothing for your business.
Yeah, so, and then the last one that we added in here is just Waze. Some people might not think about it. We've got several clients that we run on there because they're service.
Does everyone know what Waze is?
Oh, everybody's got to know what
Okay.
Waze is now. But, so it's another wonderful product. A lot of these social media products are inexpensive to advertise on, so it doesn't work. It just doesn't fit with your business model.
So, sorry, specifically, right before we take questions, now that our time is fully up. I want to say that obviously we work with clients on this all day long and we offer these services, we run the technology behind them. We have content writers and graphic designers and those things. But the goal for today is to make some of these things accessible to you to be able to go and do and utilize. Genuinely hope that that's the case. So ask questions. I also know we only had 45 minutes. And so if y'all want to talk about your specific business and what's an approach for Facebook that would work for you, or how to set up, email marketing or those kinds of things, like genuinely, like give us a call, send us an email. We'd be more than happy to sit down and talk with you guys. So we are a local business in Beaumont, like you guys are. So we are here to help. And we know that sometimes that means with paid clients, and we know that sometimes that means offering the knowledge that we can offer to help this community in our area continue to see growth, consistency, and retain that business. And so that's our goal and our desire in that. So with that being said, any questions?
Hey, I just want to say, speaking of Waze, there's a hazmat accident on I-10, and so they just opened up one lane, but the other lanes are closed, so it's backed up to
Where's the,
Houston. I mean,
where on this?
Well, I mean, it's at downtown exit, but it's backed up all the way, so say. So just when you leave, check Waze, and then you'll know where to go.
Great.
Fair enough.
And you will probably see people's ads for their restaurants and everything else on there, so.
Or you will now.
So Eric, I have a question that y'all touched on where, and part of it that I'm asking, I don't know it's true, but then part of it, I know. So I've heard people say, well, I was talking about a new car and then I had showed it. So does that happen?
In theory, it doesn't, the technology's there to grasp it. One of the big changes that Apple did in the last 6 months was that Facebook, y'all might have heard, was fighting Apple over something. Basically, everybody had listening, nobody knew that you were listening. So Apple came in and said, the most recent iOS update, it eradicated all of that. I can't tell you that's true or not, but it sure seemed to happen coincidentally to a lot of people, all of us. But the technology was there. Apple made that change in their iOS to stop all of the people from filtering, so you can't do specifically targeted ads. The individual trackers that were put on all of the apps that put on the phones were basically erased overnight. So we, as digital advertising, get extremely disappointed. That we didn't necessarily like that as much, but it was for better for all of us. I can't tell you that it truly said it, but it was coincidence a lot of times. So we don't even know what we're accepting on our phones, guys. You just want the app to do it, and we just give it away. Now that capability is there, like, to do that. So I can tell you that.
On the same thread, one of the things that Apple announced a couple of weeks ago, the next big software update is that they're going to give you the option to not be, to basically hide yourself from the trackers in email. So for those of us that are trying to build subscriber lists, and we talked a bit about email marketing lists and those kinds of things, do you think that we're going to see some significant changes there? Is there a way to kind of work?
So it won't.
To get the open.
I haven't fully read everything on that yet, and so I don't believe that is going to stop. If you have the right email marketing platform with the right piece of technology, it won't stop us seeing heat sensors, the placements, and the other things that we're looking for on those, so it won't stop those. That's going to be more platform specific, so it just depends on which one you're utilizing. That is my best way to answer that without seeing the full, because they haven't released everything on it yet. Yes.
So, like, for myself, if I wanted to go to y'all to have y'all help me with website,
Yeah.
marketing or whatever, do y'all have specific little, I guess, box set of, packages? Or do you just tailor it for the individual user?
We have, as you'll see, that we call this essentials. We believe that all of these things are essential. Whether you get to do all those at one time is completely upon your, if that makes sense.
Most
Go ahead.
most of the time, the way we're trying to work, while we can package some things and that sort of deal, we also offer everything a la carte. And so a lot of what we're doing is saying, a lot of times we have people come in with a budget, and we're going to figure out how to tailor it best towards you. And if you need recommendations on that, then we can kind of, a lot of times what we try to do, again, using some of the technology is build out, a way to be able to show you specifically, what may work best for you, give you a few different price options in there.
So one thing I'll say to, question, go, because I'll.
No question, but I have to say, so we've just hired Ben or y'all for, and it was, they did a lot more for the money than I thought they would do, so, yes.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that comes from my old banking background. I'm not traditionally in the marketing world, so I come from the financial industry, and I think that's why we're more of a technology firm. We analyze everything extremely. But I also was used to saving people money, and when I got into these other things, like, wow, this costs a lot of money. So I'm very small business minded in our company, but we have given you a ton of different platforms here. Don't do them all. If you're not gonna do something well or consistently, don't even start it. I mean, I've got people that I come and talk to, or we talk to occasionally. Doesn't matter what state you're in. It's fundamental. Are you gonna do? He goes, well, I think I'm gonna get to Facebook. I've had business 10 years. We're in LinkedIn. We're in these other things. We do it consistent. Or are you gonna do it? No, I don't know. I just think we should be there. Or are you gonna do it consistent? Don't even open the Facebook account because it's still active no matter what you do. It's very hard to make a mistake. It's very hard to merge multiple accounts. And so if you're not gonna do it, just do it later. Doesn't mean you're not gonna do it later. Just slowly do it. So if you only have Facebook, rock Facebook until you rock Facebook and Instagram. Those two are very easy to do because Facebook bought them. You do it all in a planner. So it's very simple for you guys. So just don't overextend yourself, which is the biggest problem that I see with small businesses, because it's one person doing everything. And it's hard to focus on the marketing, but then I really need to be selling product, and we're doing the service. And so that's why you work with people. And I'll also give a shout out to both AmeriCommerce and us. When you come to either companies like us, we are nothing like a $400 quote website. And here is why. I used to have, I was trying to impulsively tell people why we were better. We don't. And here's the chance you could take to mess up your company. And it's a fundamental mess up. Great to get a college kid out of there helping them, or someone. I mean, Ben did websites in high school, so you might have helped Ben at one time. He didn't realize he wasn't helping you.
If so, I'm sorry.
No, but the reason being is Google is the phone book. If a website is not done appropriately, even from the old one to the new one, you start over with all of your historical information at ground zero. It's like you're a baby again within Google. A lot of people are like, why? We just built a brand new website. Why did I disappear? Well, they didn't do this, this, and this right. They didn't map it over. They don't do the flows correctly. So you start your complete historical data over. Even if it's the same domain, it is over. And it takes 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years to get it, because now you're ranking behind other people that have had it out there. Even if it's bad, and they've had it, they don't own it. They don't own the website or the Google analytical information. It's still better than yours. It'll go away once they decide to do a new one. So it's very important to work with a good company. Your money costs you a little bit more. Maybe they'll work with you, but it's very important to get set up appropriately in today's world. Very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
The Facebook question about the, we do multiple posts a day for just like resources for persons with disabilities.
Sure.
How would we need to spread those out to make sure, because I've seen it, the multiple day posts, the engagement is way down. And that's just because they're not being seen as often. Do they go off the
Really
reach
need
or
to
the
look at
likes?
your analytical data, find out when the best is. I would scrap 2 days posting, because in everything, if everything's done too much, they change that algorithm and make it fade away in the background, and that's the one thing you don't want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at your data, but I would go look at your analytical data, find out when the best time it's posting throughout the week, and I would back down and check it out and see if you just post a couple of times a week. The hardest thing is the people making the transformation of saying, we still got people out there that are doing 5 posts a day. And I'm like, I mean, there's no relevant information that's 5 posts a day. There's nothing, but we can't create that much. And you just disappear off Facebook, people's Facebook feeds. You'll find that a couple of things will change, and that's okay. That's okay.
I noticed because we have the similar posts, we're having great engagement, and then this flood of them came, and it's been nothing, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I would back that down.
Yeah.
Sure. And just start looking at those numbers much closer. And then, yeah, yep, that's where I'd start with. Any other questions?
Well, as we said, when we were talking about Facebook, I know marketing isn't, isn't super sexy. So while it is an essential thing, hope we didn't bore you too much over 45 minutes because we are used to being in this world talking all the time. So thank you guys for spending y'all's lunch over here. Genuinely hope it was helpful and informative. So, yeah.
Any other questions?